You're listening to Podketeers.
Welcome to episode 462 of Podketeers. This week, March Mayhem in April is coming to an end. We talk about Gameloft's new game, Disney Speedstorm. Good news for Disney security workers. Carrie Fisher will be honored on May 4th. Larry talks about attending Throwback Nite. Unfortunate incidents at Disneyland. And of course, our Disney history segment, Great Moments with Mr. Andrew, continues with 1955 and 1956. We'd love for you to join the conversation on our social networks, including Instagram and Facebook, but we invite you to join us on Discord. Joining the community is super simple. Just head on over to podketeers.com/links and click on the Discord button to join our community. A very special thank you goes out to an awesome group of people known as the FGP Squad, our podcast Fairy Godparents, because it's their support via Patreon that help make these episodes of Podketeers possible. As part of the FGP Squad family, you get some additional perks like exclusive discount codes for Podketeers gear, additional content that we've uploaded to Patreon, and access to our happy hour calls, just to name a few. For more information on how you can become part of the FGP Squad family, we invite you to check out podketeers.com/FGP. And as always, a super special thank you goes out to the FGP Squad for their continued support. Time for us to jump into this episode. If this is your first time hanging out with us, welcome. We hope that you enjoy the episode and that you come back for more. And of course, if you've been hanging with us for a while now, welcome back, friends. Here is episode 462 of Podketeers.
Nailed it.
I saw Larry trying to make sure he could clap like here.
Did you see that awkward side clap? Yeah. It was like I was trying to give myself like a pound or like a lock hand thing.
Yeah. It's fun.
Whatever works.
Yeah.
We got the sync, right? We did it. We did
Like
it.
butter.
Da-na-na-ba. I think we've done that one before. I don't know.
Oh, we have done that one.
Probably.
All right, we'll find a new one.
A new one.
Hey, so earlier I was on Shop Disney, as you do occasionally, right? Trying to
Yeah.
find cool new
That place
stuff.
has some dumb stuff on there.
Uh-oh.
But I was on there because there was a limited edition pin that came up that I thought somebody that I knew would appreciate. So I texted them, and they were like, "Oh, can you get it for me?" You know, using the D23 Gold membership. So I got the pin, and while I was on there, it happened to recommend stuff, you know, for me, and I saw the Disney 100 stuff. And I was like, oh, let me quickly look through this stuff. And I saw the statue of the street statue with like the dopey drive and, you know, the animation, you know, all that stuff.
Oh, is that on the
And
website now?
It's on the website.
Oh,
it's
nice.
like $60-some or something. And I almost bought it. And then I saw that they had this like Steamboat Willie tie. It's like $64. And I'm thinking, oh my God, this is such a cool tie. I love like, it's like all gray and it's got like little tiny Steamboat Willies all about it. So from afar it looks like dots, like polka dots, but from up close you can see all the little Steamboat Willies, right? And I thought, oh man, I'm like $11 away or $12 away or something like that from free shipping.
Been there.
And I'm thinking like, man, do I just want to pay the shipping for this? Because I know how this goes. And so I posted it on Discord. And then FGP Squad member Heather says, well, you know what you have to do. You have to buy an item that's, you know, $11 or $12. I was like, yeah, that is the rational thing to do. The rational thing to do, mind you.
Yeah.
And so I did what every psycho would do, is you added another item for $77. Which was, no, but look, okay, hear me out. It's a matching set of cufflinks that have Steamboat Willie on them as well. So Steamboat Willie tie, $64. Matching cufflinks, Disney 100 Steamboat Willie for $77. Guess what? I got free shipping.
Hey, that's all that matters.
I got my free shipping.
Mission accomplished.
Were any of those Disney 100s? Did you get the free?
They both were.
They have. If you would have waited,
The
did you
hand
get the
soap?
free item?
What is
Yeah,
the free
there was
item?
a free item with it. I don't know what
Okay,
it
you
was.
got the free item.
Okay,
But
cool.
A
if
Disney
I only got
100
one,
ear hat ornament. There you go.
yeah, if you only get one, if it's under 100, I think it's $12 for the ornament. But if you hit over a certain, like over 100, I think you get it for free as part of your order.
Okay.
So, and it's the Mickey ears that look like they're dripping with the silver. That's the little ornament that you get along with it. So
the platinum drip.
Yeah, matching tie and cufflinks. So there you go. I went from a $12 item to way too much for a tie and cufflinks.
But just think about all the times you can wear cufflinks and ties.
Yep.
I mean,
it's an investment.
I go nowhere, so that makes total sense.
You could zoom that. You just put on the cufflink and ties.
On the next FGP Squad call or something, if it showed up, then I'll have to wear it. I'll have to get all dressed up for the
mowing the lawn.
Yeah.
Take out the trash. You can.
I mean, if you.
Look dapper.
If you want to do, your card, reveal videos, there you go. Hey.
Oh, yeah.
You're welcome.
Maybe the tie would help, and Disney fans would see the Steamboat Willie and be like, oh, he's a Disney fan. Awesome.
Yeah. Add a couple pins, you're good.
Yeah. So I'll let you know when I get those. But, it was a back and forth in my head that went on for so long. I was like, do I really want to spend another $80 on another item just to... The answer was yes. Did I need to buy him? No, but
yes.
But yes.
That money isn't going to churros and popcorn right now. It's got to go to something.
Exactly. You got to get your money somehow.
Yeah, they got to get my money somehow. I mean, they're already getting my money on my pass, or I'm sorry, my key. Given how much I'm going, they're making bank on me.
I still call it a pass.
Right, so
I've given up.
It's like printing my own money.
Right? Let's see. We got March Mayhem updates. As of this episode, we have officially completed all of the general matches for round 1, 2, and the semifinals. The day this episode releases is the day that we are going to post the championship match for March Mayhem. So we don't know who's won yet, because we do know who's going to participate. It's going to be Han Solo versus Buzz Lightyear in the championship for March Mayhem in April. I got to say, I don't know how that happened, because in Andrew's bracket, if you've been on Discord with us, if you're part of the community, you may have seen Andrew's bracket had Roger Rabbit in every single slot. So how we ended up Han Solo versus Buzz Lightyear and not Roger Rabbit versus Roger Rabbit is baffling to me.
I demand a recount. I think we're starting this whole thing over. March Mayhem in May Mayhem.
Mayhem.
We have to do all Roger Rabbits. I don't know
Mayhem.
what we're doing. Mayhem. Now that sounds like turning red. Mayhem.
It does.
Anyway, so everybody let me down, and I'm mad at all of you.
Wow.
So everybody that's listening, I'm mad at you all because you voted for Buzz freaking Lightyear. Like, Buzz Lightyear, come on, that's the obvious choice, but come on, be like go against the grain. I know Larry probably even let me down on that one. He loves his Buzz Lightyear. Even though I pleaded with everybody, I said he's got a tattoo.
He does.
I'm kind of biased.
I don't know, but I'm mad at everybody. Just so you know.
If it helps, you can go back and look at the votes. I voted for Roger Rabbit.
Well, I appreciate it, and I don't know. I voted for Roger Rabbit. Quizneyland voted for Roger Rabbit. And it still didn't help. So I'm mad at everybody, and I don't know. They're just gonna have to deal with me being mad at them because whatever. I'm voting for Han Solo, just so you know.
For the Indiana Jones version, we were going to call it Raiders Raiders March
Mayhem.
Mayhem.
Raiders March Mayhem, yeah.
Right? So if we did a Roger Rabbit one, are we going to continue the tradition? Like, if we do it, let's say in July, can we just add a month to the name and just be like March Mayhem in April in July?
Yeah.
Just like continue adding months, and every time we do a new one, we just tack on another month and another level to the graphic.
Oh my god!
It would, you know what? It goes perfect because it's zany, and that's Roger Rabbit right there. So perfect,
right?
Money,
Please.
Dude. If we did a March Mayhem in April, in July, and Roger Rabbit didn't win an all Roger Rabbit bracket, that would suck, man.
Yeah.
If all of a sudden at the end it's like Buzz Lightyear's the winner, it's like what?
I don't know. Buzz Lightyear seems to be popular. If you haven't listened to last week's Quizneyland, well, this won't really give you too spoiler, but Funko Pop, Funko Pop, although everybody knows the Funko Pop. When Disney made their first line of Funko Pop, Mickey Mouse, number 1, Funko Pop. Number 2, Buzz Lightyear. Buzz Lightyear is Funko Pop number 2. Not Minnie Mouse, not Donald Duck. Buzz Lightyear is number 2. So I thought they really like Buzz Lightyear for some reason. Why do people like Buzz Lightyear? What's the deal? Why don't they like Roger Rabbit? Roger Rabbit's like
number laser.
Roger Rabbit's like 500.
He can dance and speak in Spanish.
Roger Rabbit could dance and probably speak in Spanish. You don't know. He could get a laser in the night. I don't know if they had lasers in the 40s. I don't know. But
he's from space. It's hard to be an astronaut.
No, he is a toy. He's a child's plaything.
Oh man, is that what it is? At least he falls in style though, or
You're mocking me, aren't you? Anyway, I'm mad at you all, so you're just going to have to live with yourselves. I'm not mad at you, Heyzen, because and I don't know, Melissa,
I
did you vote
voted
for
for
Roger.
Roger. I'm going to put it out there right now.
Okay, so you two, I'm not mad at you two. Larry, half mad at you. I can't. You got a tattoo, so I can't fault you for that. But everybody else, I'm mad at you, and you're just going to have to deal with it.
And that's episode 459.
And that's the end of this episode. Good night.
I think what happened was Larry wanted to vote for Roger Rabbit with his heart, but when his finger went down, the tattoo was like, nope, and it switched over to us. Like the tattoo carried the vote.
Like the Venom effect.
I see what it is.
Well, we got that going on. Make sure that you head on over to our Instagram account and vote for your favorite if you are listening to this on launch day. If you're listening to this on any other day other than launch day, you'll probably already know the winner, and we'll be talking about
from space,
that
I'm just saying.
next week. Another thing I wanted to quickly update you on is Disney Speedstorm. As you know, I was talking about, I had reserved the game. I pre-ordered it. Same makers as Disney Dreamlight Valley. And I was pretty excited when I saw the preview at D23. And I thought, wow, love racing games, love Mario Kart. This is fantastic. It's got Disney characters. They look like Disney Infinity characters from the trailer. And I was just super pumped. So I went all out, got the Founders Pack, got the extra costumes and all that stuff. Nice. And let me tell you, so I played the game for the first time. Wow. So I love Mario Kart. I think it's one of the best racing games out there. And I might say something that's going to make some people angry, but I think this game is way better. It's super confusing at the beginning. I'm not going to lie. It was kind of confusing because they have like 3 different currencies that work for different things in the game, and leveling up characters is difficult until you understand it. But they have daily tasks that you can use to get certain currencies to level them up, to buy power-ups for the game. They have 5 different ways to play the game. Like there's like a regulated circuit where you kind of play with people that are your own level, but it allows you to level up your characters. There's the full competitive mode that allows you to only play with the characters that you own while you're leveling up. Then there's the free play, local free play, and you can do like split screen up to 4 players.
That's cool.
There's like 4 different types of characters. There's defenders, and there's tricksters, and speedsters, brawlers, and each one of them has their own power-ups that you can use, and they all do different things. Like tricksters, when you enable their power-up, will switch the screen direction so that left is right and right is left while they're driving. The screen turns like purple and stuff like that when it happens. The brawlers will just knock you off the road, create explosions, and just basically knock you into next week. Speedsters, obviously, their power-ups are speeding. So once you kind of get the hang of what the different characters can do and how to enable their power-ups, which I am still learning, it gets easier to play. Drifting is your best friend because you build up your power super quickly. But, Andrew, when you said that the guy that you follow on Instagram said that the music was the best part of the game, I don't know how to emphasize that is 374% so true. The music in this game is absolutely phenomenal. I am waiting for a soundtrack to get released. I've set a Google alert for when a soundtrack for this game comes out on vinyl because it is such a good soundtrack. The remixes of the songs, like not even the Disney remixes, the standard music that they use for the menus and all that stuff is so freaking good. I just love this game so much. Has it pulled me away from Dreamlight Valley? Not completely, because it does take a lot more concentration and it does take a lot more practice and it's a little more intense. So from a cozy game standpoint, it is definitely not a cozy game because it can get a little hectic because there's a lot of stuff going on the screen. And there's a lot, like learn the tracks is another thing I can tell you. Like if you learn the tracks, you'll learn all the shortcuts because in the blink of an eye, you can go from first place to 8th or 7th, or depending on how many people you're playing against. Like when I first started playing, I was doing pretty well. I got an opportunity to play several games when the game first launched. And I was getting like anywhere from 1st to 3rd place when I was racing because the mechanics are really easy to learn. But I haven't played in several days. And I just picked it up again today before we started recording. I can't get anything better than 6th or 7th right now. Wow. Like people have gotten so good at playing since the game launched that now I have some catching up to do. But man, it is so freaking fun. I can't wait till I'm set up properly to do some streaming or just to even show some people the game that are curious about it. Because it's so fun. Like, I need people to play against. Like, I want to be able to play this with friends. Larry, I think this is your cue. I think this is the game that I think is finally going to break you.
It is. I admit there's 2 things that you mentioned on here. So, Dreamlight Valley, you guys have been hearing. I'm not a hater. I'm just haven't been there because you can't really play it with people. So segue straight from what Heyzen said, and I saw immediately in the demo of this game, I just saw it literally 2 days ago. I saw you could play people in, and then yes, Heyzen, I can't agree with you more. Like, I'm an N64 kid. I played Mario Kart because that's all you could afford when you got the starter pack for N64 was Mario Kart. So I played it on N64 consistently. And when I got those vibes immediately when I played I didn't play it. I got to watch someone play it. And it was, dude, the music is on another level. And the characters that you can earn, like, throughout the game, like you're talking about the pack, it makes you really want to go in. So for me, I hate to break the news, guys, but if it's going to get me into the gaming world after being retired since Halo 3 days, this is the one. This might be the one that finally does it, because I'm like, all right, you got my Disney heart, and now you got my interest in just the racing part of it. But you're right, it's not like what people got used to during 2020, like sim style, or like having that smooth pace of game where you're kind of like doing it as like a thing to kind of wind down. This is like, yeah, racing, fun. I'm not saying Dreamlight Valley is not fun. What I'm saying is it's like a lot of action happening, and on the music, dude, I'm going to say 100%. I didn't even know you could set an alert, but I would listen to this music as I work just to make me hyped up.
Yeah. You know, and it got me thinking that one of the reasons we started the the gamer channel on the Discord was because we wanted to be able to play against other people. But one thing that we realize is that there's a lot of people gaming on different systems, but there's not a lot of cross-platform games that we can play. And so a lot of the existing cross-platform games are things like Fortnite, and I think Fall Guys was one that we anticipated playing. But the problem with those games is that you can't set up like a private room for just you and the group that you wanted to play. And my idea was always, like, I want to play with our community first and foremost, right? Like, I want to be able to like jump on Discord and be like, hey, how many people own this game? You know, let's start up a private room and let's play together. Like, I think Among Us was one of the only games that we were able to play because we could create, you know, our own room and play. And that's kind of why the Jackbox games became such a favorite of mine, because we were able to play together, you know, with just, like I said, with our own community. So this, I think, changes that, because right now you do have to pay. That is the downside, that if you do want access to the game, it's kind of like Dreamlight Valley. You do have to pay the Founders Pack. The least expensive one, I think, is $30 on all platforms. If you have an Xbox Series X, I believe, or any of the newer Xboxes, I think there's like a 30% off discount right now. But eventually the game is going to be free to play. I do worry about that, because I'm hoping that the stuff that you can buy is closer to like Fall Guys and Fortnite, where it's more skins and like emotes and stuff like that you can buy that just kind of enhance the visual. But I hope you don't have to pay for boosting your character. I hope that boosting your character is still game and skill based. Otherwise, what's going to happen is the people with the most money are going to become the most dominant players, because they'll be able to buy all of the power-ups. And that's just a crappy situation, right? So if you have microtransactions and therefore skins and costumes and custom cars and additional maps and stuff, that's awesome. I would love that. But if you're going to use those to power up your players, it's going to ruin the game. I'm sorry, but I think it's going to ruin the game. But yeah, when it's free, I think it'll be more accessible to people. But if anybody out there does plan on getting Disney Speedstorm, regardless of platform, we can start sharing our names and characters or whatever, so we can become friends in the game, because you can create a private racetrack. And that's what I love about it, that you can get up to like 8 players at a time. And my head just started spinning, and I'm thinking like, man, we can have like our own Discord tournament similar to March Mayhem, but with like racers, you know, and the winner of the tournament in Speedstorm, after a specific amount of matches, advances, they get a prize at the end. You know, I think it's just a really fun way for us to have fun, you know, with a different type of game and a different type of interaction. So more on that later, because I think we want to flesh this one out a little bit more. I want to talk about some Disney news in a bit, because I heard nothing happened in the parks like at all this past weekend. It was super quiet, you know.
Peaceful.
Peaceful, right? But Mel, you sent us this article about Carrie Fisher. You want to talk a little bit about what's happening?
Yeah. I want to say, like, as of a couple of days ago, we just learned that Carrie Fisher is going to get her star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame, which is what everyone is saying, long overdue, especially for what she's done for the franchise and what she's done in films for Star Wars and many other things. But she's kind of, you know, hey, why didn't she have it? She's finally going to get it. So when is she going to get it? May the 4th. As she should be getting her star. And that is exciting. How did we learn? Thank you, Mark Hamill. Thank you for posting this, because I didn't see any articles or anything. And it's a little weird. It's like I would have expected this to be posted everywhere, because it's Carrie Fisher. No, but again, thank you, Mark Hamill. We appreciate you. Thank you, dude. The interesting thing that I learned is that when stars are given to those who have passed, it's usually about I want to say a 5-year timeline where they're like, oh, okay, that's when they could get it is within that time, which is kind of weird and I don't understand. But it's been 7 years since she's passed. But overall, we're going to celebrate her on May the 4th. Wear your Star Wars gear. I know all of us can't go to Hollywood. Wear it that day. Again, as you should, because it's May the 4th. Put some buns on. Let's celebrate her. I'm like, do something to, buns. Wear something that'll just celebrate her. I did learn that Billie Lourd, her daughter, will be accepting on her behalf, which is amazing. So that warms my heart. I hope it warms everyone's heart because, when you think about Carrie Fisher, you're like, oh, it hurts. So this right here is happy news, warm fuzzies, a little hug. Yay.
You want to come over and do my buns for me, Melissa?
Sure.
For May the 4th.
I will buy sticky buns and eat those.
There you
in
go.
honor of.
I'm gonna wear Rebecca's what are those? I forgot what they're called, but they're the Princess Leia ears that have little Princess Leia. They're mini ears.
nice.
Yeah,
Oh, okay.
perfect.
She'll probably be mad I stole them, but
Perfect.
it'll be worth it.
There we go.
Nice. Right on. I'm not going to lie. I thought she had a star on the Walk of Fame already.
You would have thought.
Yeah. I mean, like you said, it's been so long since she passed that because I know Harrison Ford got his like almost 10 years ago now. Mark Hamill got his 4 or 5 years ago, I think. And you would have thought when she passed, they would have given her hers. But yeah, it's 100% a surprise to me that she didn't already have one. But hey,
Right.
better late than never, like you said, right? It's
Right.
I'm glad she's finally getting it. She's well deserved.
Yeah, you think Disney would have just paid for it? But like, hey, like if people don't know, the Hollywood Walk of Fame, you just like you have to you have to have a SAG card, and then your manager or somebody pays for you to get it on there. It's not like it's an honored thing, but it's also like this could have happened sooner very easily.
Oh, yes.
There's no reason that, the Disney could have just paid for, or Carrie Fisher's agent or whomever could have paid for it. But seems the ball was dropped. We should go through the list. I'm sure there's a list somewhere of everybody that has a star on the Walk of Fame, and see who else we think is left out. Because I'm sure
cool.
Plenty.
Like
I
there's probably
know
a lot.
I know like Kermit the Frog has one, and Tinkerbell and stuff like Mickey Mouse, Minnie Mouse, they all have them. But, people, human beings, I'm sure Roger Rabbit doesn't have one. I'm not going to go down that road again. But yeah, I'm sure there's plenty of people that are deserving of the star and don't have one.
So I did some quick Googling, and I don't know if this was the case when she passed away, but apparently Carrie Fisher's agent was Brian Lord, who is also Billie Lourd's father.
Billie Lourd's father.
Uh-huh.
And if he represented Carrie, why wouldn't he fork over the $10K to get her a star earlier?
Yeah.
I'm not going
just-
down that route.
Does not compute, right? But you're right. Disney should have at least done it.
Yeah.
Maybe there's a
You
waiting
know?
list too. I mean, I don't know. I know you can
Is
get
there a
them, but
waiting
is
list?
it like? I'm
I
not
don't know.
sure. I remember hearing Kevin Smith talk about when he got his. I think, if I remember right. And then I remember hearing this the same time because they were talking. Ralph Garman went for. Thankfully, Adam West got his. So I think those. I don't know if they were like automatic. There's a part of a waiting list on some of them, and some of them I think get like the Disney Legend status. They get mainstream shot like priority to get it. I think that could be it too.
Heyzen, just so you know, the price of the star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame is not $10,000. It is $55,000.
55.
Whoa.
I'm on their official website.
Holy.
Oh, me too.
Toledo.
And I just saw this as well, that if you are posthumously inducting somebody or nominating somebody, you have to wait 2 years after
Oh, is
their
it two?
death.
Okay.
Yeah.
There we go.
So, I mean, there's a lot of hurdles that they have to jump. 55K, though. Damn, yo.
But 55K.
She's
that's
worth
a
it.
hurdle.
She's
that's
worth
a
it.
third
Yeah,
of Club
I mean-
33.
I know.
I like how we immediately compare it to some like Disney. There's no like placard for you at Club 33. You know what I mean? Like the difference.
But I could possibly get a star on the Walk of Fame faster than I could get a Club 33 membership.
And that's gonna last forever. You know, or as
Right.
far as we
Make
know.
an account and then you can nominate yourself
Yep.
on their website. We need to be bombarding the Hollywood Walk of Fame website
sounds
with
like
nominations.
Something I can get behind.
I think this is a new scheme we can do.
It is.
We need to find somebody. We'll get everybody in on it. Who should we nominate? Somebody like obscure that we can nominate.
Roger
like
Rabbit.
Tony Baxter, Hollywood Walk of Fame, star of the Walk of Fame. Let's do it.
Can we do
get
that?
Tony?
Can we get the stash a star?
We can try. Let's figure
All
this
right.
out, and we'll put it out to the
right now. We're
listeners.
putting it in the atmosphere.
And we'll figure out what the steps are, and then we'll tell everybody, and we're gonna get Tony Baxter on that Walk of Fame.
We'll do all of the Imagineers that we love.
Oh, we're gonna have to
One at a
everybody-
time.
Wow.
One
at a
55.
time.
Now,
There you go.
55K.
Yeah.
Posthumously,
This is a heavy startup.
Campaigns for all of them.
Yeah,
Okay.
campaigns for sure.
I think we got to start with one. We got to see if it's fruitful.
Yeah, let's see if we can get past
we can,
the
What if we start with
committee?
Bob Gurr?
Ooh.
That
I
way
mean,
he can
he's in
accept
the-
it and
yeah.
go do the thing, right?
There we
Yeah.
go. Yeah,
Oh man! All right, let's
I
look
love the
into it.
thinking.
I'm interested in
we'll
this
look
now.
into it. We're getting somebody on the Walk of Fame.
Right on. All right, let's talk about some park stuff. We have an awesome Great Moments with Mr. Andrew coming up with a lot of information about 55 and 56. So that's going to be an awesome segment. We're going to jump into Throwback Night in a moment. Larry had an opportunity to attend, and the way he came across that ticket was absolutely amazing. So we're going to hear about that in a moment. But before we do, I do want to remind you that this episode of Podketeers is brought to you by a fantastic group of listeners known as the FGP Squad, our podcast Fairy Godparents, because it's their support via Patreon that help make these episodes of Podketeers possible. For more information on how you can become part of the FGP Squad family, we invite you to go to podketeers.com/FGP for more information. There you will find a list of some of our top contributors, a little bit of information about what the FGP Squad is all about, and of course a link to our Patreon. Being a part of the FGP Squad family gets you some additional perks like access to our happy hour calls, additional content that we've uploaded to Patreon, random giveaways, a special section of Discord, and more. If you would like more information about the FGP Squad, please feel free to reach out. You can message us over on any of our social networks, or you can join our community on Discord. And just shoot a message over to us. We'll be happy to answer any questions that you might have. And of course, to all of the members of the FGP Squad family, we just want to send a huge thank you for your continued support. Hey, speaking of random giveaways for the FGP Squad, I found something that I'm going to put up for grabs, I think, over on Discord. I don't know if you remember, but I was testing out different hats, having Podketeers hats made, and I found one of the demo hats that we made. I'll post a picture of it over on Discord, but that is going to be up for grabs for the FGP Squad. So I haven't decided if we're going to do a random giveaway where we just select a name out of a wheel for whoever wants to enter the giveaway, but I think it's either going to be there or on Instagram. I don't know. But I'll post a picture. I found a couple of items like that I just thought would be kind of cool. So if any of you want a test Podketeers hat, it's going to be coming up. It's going to be one of the random giveaways soon. So keep an eye out for more information when that gets posted. Larry, you had an opportunity to go to Disney Throwback Night. Tell us how that all came to be and how the event was.
Well, it was first off, there was some magic involved, which I should say, with anything with Disney, and literally, the guy's name ends in his YouTube channel with magic. So I got to give a shout out to a fellow streamer out there on the YouTube platform. As you guys know, I have Goofy Guys Adventures. We mentioned on here. Thankfully, you guys, I see some of the members of the the Podketeers showing up every once in a while in the YouTube stream.
I'm glad you remember it because I always forget to say it. I came up with it and I always
love
forget.
it. I'm gonna start saying it on I need to start the Podketeers.
I came up with that and I thought it was great. I'm glad somebody remembers it.
I'm keeping it alive, so I'm gonna keep saying it. The Podketeers, but
do I need to make a T-shirt? Is that what's gonna help it? Hashtag Podketeers.
Let's go Squad.
Podketeers.
Squad up.
There you go.
Squad up, right?
So the Kevin Sue Magic, if you guys haven't seen him before, he also does live streams from the park. He just started it after he was able to get a Magic Key, aka annual passes. Me and Andrew have now became I don't know, like I'm on Andrew's train on this now. I say it even on the live stream. I'll be like, it's an annual pass to me now again, but. He does live streams, but unfortunately he was under the weather, and that's what Heyzen was talking about. And he let me know pretty much that day, that Thursday. This was the second day they offered it for the event, because they had offered it the Tuesday of a week ago. So that would have been the 18th and then the 20th. That was the dates that they offered Throwback Nite. So if you don't know what that was, it's a Disneyland After Dark event. So what that is pretty much you could enter the park at 6 o'clock with just this ticket alone, but the event really didn't start till 9 o'clock. And the Throwback Night had the theme as what you just think of, Disneyland throwback theme. So things that you would see in like maybe in Yesterland, or things that you would have make you feel nostalgia. So for example, I know there was a part Melissa reached out because they had an earlier adoption of the fireworks available when this started, and Melissa's very close. We've talked about to the fireworks, and she's like, "Whoa, what's she?" I just saw a text as I'm streaming, and it was so funny. And it was like, "What's going on? Did something happen with the fireworks?" Because she's like, it was only like 5 minutes or something like that.
Right.
And yeah, it was a shorter adoption of it. So, but it was themed to that older style. So the cool part about that was that there was no projections. I know that doesn't sound cool, and there was no front pyrotechnics. So we got to stand as close as I've ever stood watching fireworks. I got to stand in front of basically the main circle of the Main Street area, like where the actual front of the castle is, where people take pictures in front of the castle, and I was able to watch the fireworks from there. It was really cool. It was a different experience. So for 5 minutes, I was like pretty amazed by everything. But I would say, Heyzen, my highlights were a throwback. My favorite, I streamed this, so like I said, you guys can check out Goofy Guys Adventures, was seeing the dancing back at the Fantasyland Theater. I believe that's what it's called, right? That was so awesome. There was the big band style, so they were swing dancing. I mean, we had couples out there that were like in their 60s and 70s to people that were like, you could tell adopting it now in their 20s or 30s. Like, I'm like,
That's
I
so
miss,
cool.
if you guys don't remember that. That was, me, Heyzen, and Andrew could remember, this is probably like 2010, 2008. You would, 2008, sorry, kids.
I remember swing dancing back
Yeah, they
when-
would have swing dancing at night.
at
that
the
part of the park.
Carnation Plaza Gardens.
That's it.
The big bands would
Bee's knees.
Oh boy.
But it was so cool because it bring life to that part of the park again. And I think a lot more people go. What you guys probably want to know about is the photo ops. So, for example, they had photo ops in Fantasyland with Dumbo, Pinocchio Friends, Cinderella and Friends, Aurora and Friends, and Hippo. I forget. I never say that right. It's from Fantasia, the hippo from Fantasia. And then they had Alice there. But the big one was Dumbo. So, I mean, I don't know. I want to get your guys' thoughts on this before I talk about Dumbo. Was the main attraction. And if you guys haven't seen it, the picture of Dumbo from what they're using, which is it the electrical parade Dumbo? Was that what it was technically? Or
It's just like the one Dumbo
It's
costume
just
they have.
yeah.
It's just like the one
like
they
the
have.
one, right?
They just have like a Dumbo.
Which is
Before
weird
I'm
to
gonna-
see Dumbo walking on his hind legs like that to begin with.
Yeah.
So there's already Hazen's already opened the door. So hind legs, big ears, small trunk, and eyes that blink,
Blink,
and
yeah,
ears
the
that
blink
wiggle,
ears.
and a tail. I've every time seen it in pictures, it was polarizing, to say it nicely. It just didn't fit. It just didn't roll with me well. But everybody was adamant about seeing this photo op, and it was the longest line there.
Wow.
And yeah, it was the longest line, and it was the only line they were doing, which I do like, which some people are not a fan of. The photo op style where they line them up on a row. So Dumbo would go by and do like quick snaps with everybody instead of being like one at a time, one at a time. So it kind of rolls a little better for more guests to get this opportunity. So I would say I want to get your guys' thoughts though on it. What do you guys think of that Dumbo? You had to see pictures of it by now.
Because it's different and weird, I think it's cool.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm down for anytime they want to bring something weird out. Like even if it's like weird looking. Like I had the thought, I was like, wouldn't it be funny on a throwback night and they bring back those scary ice capades Mickey and Minnie, like with all the holes in the face. Like that would be a real throwback. Like, bring that scary Mickey and Minnie and Pinocchio like
Oogie
back.
Boogie
Where
Bash.
it's just like where it's just like a gangly person with
Dumbo.
a big head.
I'll take Dumbo. I don't know why I'm complaining.
Those and all
Or
the
like the
dwarves
Winnie the
that would go
Pooh
down
with
the
the- Or the Winnie the Pooh with the honey pot on his head because it was like weird and shorter.
Yeah.
The big like rubber face Mad Hatter that they used to have. Like I mean, of all the things, I think it's the least egregious. Like one, it's still very cute. It doesn't really look like Dumbo, but it is very cute nonetheless. If you kind of just take the Dumbo name off of it, then it's just kind of like a cute looking elephant guy, but it doesn't really look like Dumbo.
Yeah. That was going to be my point as well, Andrew, that, of all the characters, he looks the least like the character that they're trying to portray. From a picture standpoint, I think I would have wanted to do it just because it's not a character that you see every day. Like you see it like once every 15, 20 or whatever years. So I would have possibly wanted that photo. How is the line for, what is the pink hippo's name? Hyacinth? From
I think that's how you
Fantasia?
say it. That was a tricky one because it was over by, so you have the Astro Orbiter, right? But I guess if you're looking right at it, it's on the opposite side of where, why am I forgetting right now? It's Carnation Cafe's, no, what am I saying? Not Carnation.
Jolly Holiday.
Jolly, no, the other side. Well, that's
Plaza
Jolly Holiday.
The Plaza Inn.
Plaza Inn. So the opposite side.
Oh, okay.
So then you have like
just like where the little piece of grass is.
Yeah, and all that stuff in that area where they have that. So a lot of people didn't know that there was a queue there for her, for the hippo. So at certain times, you could get in that line and probably get through it. Now, this is the Thursday, so everybody went Tuesday. Keep that in mind, too. I was going to mention, side note real quick. If they offer something on an event twice, try to go the second day. Because I've noticed now going to Princess Night the second day and now doing this, not by just by happenstance, doing the second night, it is a little less crowded as you get later through the night. Like you could tell the crowd kind of trickles down. But what I was saying on that, Heyzen, you might have got a shot if you just would have walked. Like at one point I walked by and it was bad. It was at least probably 30 minutes of waiting. And then another time I walked by, it was a walk up. Because you just didn't know that was where they were setting up the queue to get the picture with her.
Interesting.
And it was cool. Yeah, I liked it. I liked her. It was a nice. I really didn't. I underestimated that. And what I was gonna say, Dumbo. Well, I want to give a big shout out to whatever, because I just mentioned the ears move, the trunk moves, the eyes blink, and also the tail wiggles. That cast member, whoever's in there, I want to give you 100% kudos because they were able to animate all of that at the same time. And at the end of the night, I got to see them leave. I was going to take a picture with them, but I barely missed it. It was so funny because I saw all the cast members that were being like the crowd control. They were taking pictures before they were going backstage with Dumbo. But I got to see Dumbo go backstage. And before, a perfect moment, before Dumbo closes the door when they go backstage on the gate, Dumbo hopped and skipped in the air. In that suit, hopped and skipped in the air. And I was like, what? And then did the whole eye blinking and the ears moving. So I was like, okay, yeah, it's cute. And I was like, yeah, great job. So yeah, really amazing. Really bring it.
That's awesome. Man, did you get to do any of the standing or like the picture stuff? Because The ones that I saw that I think I would have been most interested in was the poster of the Skyway, the train for Nature's Wonderland, and then I want to say that in New Orleans Square, they may have had the E.P. Ripley out, and then they had a cardboard cutout of Walt and the old school Mickey doll, like peeking out of the train, right?
Yeah, I know those. I didn't get to the EP, the Ripley one. I did not get to that one. That one I bummed I'm missing that one, and that was one I was regretting because it really wasn't. Unless you were really looking out for that, that was something that they should have advertised better, which is one gripe by me. I'll put that out there. But that was an awesome photo op or an awesome time to get. But the People Mover was my favorite. And secondly, Sleeper, which people didn't know about, on the side, it's listed in the program, but it was Walt Disney's Disneyland Park. And it showed a 1950s vintage style cutout. But inside was Walt in black and white. And you could stand by Walt as he's pointing to the old Disneyland map like he did when he introduced Disneyland for the first time.
That's
as
cool.
The renderings and the mini setup. So it was so cool. That one I got like chills. I know everyone wanted to get by the 1950s Disneyland sign with the old convertible car in there. Everybody wanted that picture for Instagram, right? Or whatever, TikTok or whatnot. But that picture was more nostalgic to me than the other. And I hate to say it, the People Mover one made me just be like, I immediately looked at the People Mover one, Heyzen, and then I looked at the old track and I was like, why? Why, Disney? Don't do this to me no more. Just figure it out, dude. You've done crazier things. Just figure it out. Bring it back. I never got to ride it here. I would love to have the opportunity back.
Just dangling that carrot, man.
I know, right? First you see a
Yeah.
picture of it right there, like in its glory, and then you look behind you and you know the track's right up there. It's just up there, just doing its thing or whatever. But
did you see the other two Parks characters that they had out?
Yeah. Are you talking about Mother and Father? Or are you talking about the Mr. Morrow?
Yeah, they had Mr. Morrow and John Progress and Mother.
I saw all of them. Those now you're talking about Andrew. Those were the characters I wanted to see. That like Mr. Morrow is weird for me because seeing him in his dome in that 1950s deco style, and then and then also Mr. Morrow, like those things were like. It just brought me back. That's why that whole land made me feel, because I've always been a big Tomorrowland fan before Rise of the Resistance blew my mind. Heyzen knows that too because we went to the previews, right? And so does Andrew. Rise of the Resistance blew my mind for Star Wars reasons. But before that, all I had was Tomorrowland. And I always tell people one of my nostalgic memories was riding the rockets as a kid, which is now Astro Orbiter, but there were rockets back then. So, like, that was one of my first mind-blowing experiences at Disneyland. So whenever I go to Tomorrowland, I always feel it. And Heyzen knows, like, the Rocketeer music that used to play, that plays out there. So it's like, when seeing those older things there, like that's where I was like, these are the cool, weird things I like to see that people might not remember. That really, I didn't get to take pictures with them, but I definitely stood aside and kind of just amazed in it because I was just like, it was like, I don't know, I felt like I was a part of the park like Yesterland. It made me feel like an old memory. It was, but I never was in that memory. It just made me feel like I was in it, kind of. It was cool.
Yeah, I noticed I was online, different people talking about the meet and greets and the John Progress, the from Carousel Progress, Mother and Father. They, I guess, people weren't regulating as much the photo people, so there was people trying to get all their content for TikTok and whatnot, interviewing these people for like 5 minutes, holding up the line. So
that was more on day one. On day two, it got better.
Was it not as bad? But yeah, it seemed, I just want to put that out there that, people, people got to get their content, but also there's 100 people in line behind you, so maybe be a little more considerate when you're trying to film these things. I'm not saying Larry specifically. This is, I'm saying, because I know Larry is very courteous at the parks. I'm saying people in general. If you're going to, especially to one of these special nights where it's a couple hours, just be mindful of the people around you, that everybody's going to want to see these characters. And so, just kind of be courteous and say, oh, maybe I shouldn't be taking 5 minutes because then these people are going to have to go on break. And then that line, these people are just going to have to wait another 15 minutes for them to come off their break or however long it is to
if
switch
they
out.
come back.
if they come back,
Nailed
you
it.
know,
Yeah.
it's
Some don't come back.
you know, these specialty characters, it should just be, hi, how you doing? Oh, this is great. Something. Oh, picture time. Okay, this, that, and other thing. So
I missed out on Maleficent because of that, and I was very upset. I will say that here. I wanted to get a moment just to say hi and like have like a moment because I don't get to see her. Like she used to be out a lot.
Yeah,
and she's not out as much, and a lot of there were content creators taking a lot of video because they wanted to get her to react to stuff, and it was like you're holding up the line, and she really didn't even have a line because there was no cast members controlling that area. Which full circle back. For the people that were complaining about what I just mentioned, what I liked with Dumbo was where they line people up and Dumbo's kind of like picking people to take a picture with, then goes to the next group and goes back. If you don't like that, well, that's the consequence of what is people when they take too long with the character meet and greet. And you know what? I'll go full back on this even. So Princess Night, Andrew, I'm gonna get on the Indiana artifacts box right here.
All right.
For all the people that held up the line with Princess Leia and R2D2, whoever you are, content creator or family or Instagrammer or what, you were just trying to get that moment, you broke my heart. Like, seriously, that day me and Rebecca wanted to meet R2D2 and Princess Leia, and we couldn't. The line was over like 3 hours long pretty much the whole night. It was bad. And then when we got there at the end of the night to try to time it, they blocked the line off. So like Heyzen said, they need breaks, you know? So yeah, be mindful. It really is about taking a picture and getting like your 2 to 3 sentence, maybe if that 2 to 3 phrase thing in with them, and think about the people behind you instead of thinking like, I need to get this shock and awe, or I need to get this one funny moment that will trend on TikTok 1 million times.
Yeah.
That's not what it's about.
Exactly. If there's no line and nobody coming up behind you, then do what you want. But if these specialty characters, I don't want to sound like a grumpy old man, but this happens every time. I just complain about stuff and sound like a grumpy old man. But everybody wants their chance to get these specialty things, and so just think about the other people around you and be kind when I think all of our listeners are very courteous,
right?
And I hope they are. But spread the word, fair listeners, that it's I don't know.
Squad up.
It's not
and spread the word.
Yeah. Squadketeers, get out there and spread our message
Podketeers
of be nice to everyone and think about other people sometimes, because you know what. That video's gonna, people are gonna look at that video for like a day and then it'll go away. So is it really that important?
A kid might remember their interaction with Princess Leia or Mr. Morrow for the rest of their lives.
Yeah, exactly. But you could be taking that away from somebody else.
Exactly.
And that, I think, sadly, is one of the consequences of just technology, right? I think when you think back on vloggers and the technology 10 years ago, it was definitely harder to vlog and create videos. When phones became more commonplace, it did become easier. As live streaming became easier, there was an influx. But it's really sad to see that there's this clear delineation between people that go and do streams because they want to spread the Disney magic as best as possible. And then there's other ones that say that they're doing that, but they're super rude to cast members, and they get in people's faces and they cut off children, or they stand in front of other people and they ruin the experience for others just to get the shot. Or like we're talking right now, they go and they take 15 minutes with a face character and ruin it for everybody else, right? Like, sadly, the ability to do stuff like live streaming and other forms of content has made it easier, but also has ruined the experience for a lot of people. When you're a Magic Key holder or an annual pass holder, you can go whenever. There's people that are there every single day streaming, and they're reaching people in states when they're reaching people that can't go every day. But what happens to the person that went there on one weekend, they saved the entire year to go, and you happen to ruin their experience because you had to get your 15 minutes with these face characters.
And you're going to only use 30 seconds of that.
Exactly.
That's hard.
For a post that most people aren't even going to see, or might, get you some clout for a day or two. I don't know. I do think that there's a lot of content creators that are very respectful and do do portray the idea of Disney magic in a sense where it's respectful, not just to cast members, but to guests in general. And then there's other ones that are just super entitled and just make the experience miserable for everyone else around them. If you want to create content, but be courteous. Understand that everyone else paid to be there just like you did. You can't ruin somebody else's experience because you're trying to get your shot.
Right. And then, what's sad? I just caught myself saying something right now, Heyzen, and you guys heard it maybe, in the beginning I said, don't go day one, go day two. And honestly, that is driven by me saying what I said before, that there's a lot more content creators and things like that may have not have that same courteousness that may slow down the line. And that's a sad thing to think. I don't go to day one a lot for that reason, but I am.
Well, because they gotta get it out there as soon as
that
possible.
Makes sense.
They gotta be the first one.
Right.
Yeah,
that makes sense. Actually, yeah. If you want to be the first one to get the content out, it's obviously going to be more crowded because you're trying to create the content. So yeah, that's a great tip. If you go to these nights, go on anything other than day one.
Yeah, seriously. And it's sad because I know some people, it doesn't work with their schedule, like you just said, and that's horrible. I don't want that to be the scenario because if they only have 2 days, maybe it doesn't work that Thursday, right? Or it doesn't work that alternative day. Like for these Star Wars ones, I think there's 4 now, which is great. For that's the next one coming up. But still, what if it doesn't work on one of those weeks on that day? Like it ends up being the only first day. That's where we still are like harping to spread the word, Podketeers. Like, yeah, be kind, rewind. Go back in the past and be the old people, right? That you used to be, where you took a fast Polaroid and got the heck out. Kodak moments.
Pay it forward.
Hey, speaking of sad moments in the park. Hey, actually, before we move on to those sad moments in the park, I have to ask, did you get a chance to go get a picture with the Atomobile? Because they had a whole setup for Adventures Through Inner Space, and that is also one of the photo ops that I was like,
I didn't take a picture with it. I saw it from afar. That was the thing. I was like,
did it look good,
for me, it was cool. It was cool. I mean, what do you want me? I just don't want to talk. Everything felt like really when I'm doing the live stream, like I'm showing you guys, I'm showing the viewers like what I'm looking at, but behind the camera, I'm standing there for a minute because I'm literally going. You guys can't see, my eyes and my mouth are dropped, and I'm just like, and I'm trying to compose myself in a way of like, yeah, this is what we're doing, but in my mind, I'm like, I'm really seeing this in my own eyes myself. Like that's like you soak it in. So it's kind of like, yeah, it was cool, man. It's just cool. It's like opening a door in the history of the magic. That's what it feels like. It's like the archives, It's the same kind of idea. It's cool.
And I think a lot of the photo props that they used for Throwback Night were a lot of the same ones that they had during the Diamond Celebration. So, at least for some people, like the car, I think, the tickets, the old Disneyland marquee and stuff like that, a lot of those we've seen before. So at least there was some repeats that if you did get a chance to go, and if you got one during the Diamond Celebration, at least you didn't have to stand in line for those.
Yeah, true. I didn't think about that.
And I did notice, Larry, that your Yosoi Chubbs got a little hat.
Yeah, he got a little vest.
Baseball hat.
Yeah, and he got a hat recently.
He's got his little ace hat.
He had a vest for the event Rebecca made. I got to give proper shout out. Rebecca has now added the title costume designer to her many titles on Goofy Guys Adventure. She made that within 45 minutes out of an old t-shirt. So awesome. That was all her. Yes, Chubbs demanded. He's got some high demands. I hate to tell you guys that. He's pretty picky about how he wants to be represented on camera. So and I have a hold in this thing now. So Chubbs technically is not Chubby, because we've had this conversation. Chubby's his wife. So I found that out. And the Chubettes are his kids. So Chubbs is the dad, and he's bringing home the bacon, technically, even though he's a bird. So he's bringing the worms. So there you go. That's who Chubbs. Yosoi Chubbs is the dad of Chubby. Chubby's husband, and Chubettes are his babies. So Chubettes.
Nice.
So that's the background.
This is the lore.
The lore of Chubbs.
All right, so let's talk about some unfortunate incidents that have happened in the last several days in the park. And I want to start off with an incident that happened, I want to say Saturday, where the Wi-Fi seemingly went out and nobody could get checked into the park. It looks like the issue started around 11:30 that morning, and people weren't let into the park until 2 p.m., But I don't know if any of you saw videos of what was happening, but the Esplanade was triggering all sorts of bad memories for me.
Dude, same here. When I saw that picture, no. I felt so bad. No.
It was Friday, hence that. I'll let you know.
It was Friday.
It was Friday.
Okay.
That one.
Okay.
That was Friday's when it happened.
Those 2 hours in the parks must have been nice. Less people.
The people that did get in,
yeah,
right?
the people that were already in.
That is true.
They got in before 11. Nobody else could get in. They could, people like,
It must
I'll
have been
go
a
over to
free-for-all.
Disneyland.
Oh my
You
God.
better be keeping up on your phone and making sure that you know that something's down. So
Yeah.
don't leave the park. You're not
Worst
getting
data
back
by
in.
Genie Plus, right?
Exactly.
That's true.
Yeah, eventually they fixed it, but it was pretty horrible. I don't know if Disney did anything to make it up to the people that were waiting. Again, this kind of goes back to the conversation that we were having a moment ago, where if you're a pass holder, then you just go back whenever you have an opportunity to go back, right? But if that's day one of your 3-day vacation and you're coming from out of state, then that's a bad way to start your morning or to wait to park hop. Especially if you had any type of reservation for a restaurant or anything like that. So I hope Disney was able to help out anybody that was in a bad situation. And I also hope that people that were able to go back didn't try to take advantage of the situation. Because I know that happens a lot as well. And, one thing that I think we want to keep reminding people about is there are situations where cast members have zero control over what is happening. So the best thing you can do is cooperate and be as kind to the cast members as possible, because cast members are not going to wave a magic wand and bring back the Wi-Fi and let you in. That is just not how it works. Yes, Disney's full of magic, but you have to realize Disney is set in reality. So there are certain things in reality that have to make sense and work in order for you to experience the Disney magic. So always be kind to cast members regardless of the situation that you are in. So the no Wi-Fi was pretty bad on Friday. I thought it was Saturday, but I guess the power outage the power outages that were happening on Saturday, right? Where people were getting evac from Rise and from other attractions, right?
Well, from what I understand, okay, so I'm not too sure what caused those power outages, but yeah, most of those were related to some kind of power failure, and some people were saying it was something beyond control that was backstage to each one of those things the power outages were related to. But yeah, that was the day when people were like, oh man, it felt like, wow, that's kind of a bummer. One day, maybe these are correlated, like the internet might have thrown something off that threw the system off. And that's what was like, maybe this was like a hangover from that. That was kind of where things started getting like, well, this is kind of a bummer from what I understood.
Yeah, so that's happening Saturday evening. And then, so Larry, you were there Saturday and you were live streaming. You had a good 4.5-5 hour stream that day. You're there for the first showing of Fantasmic, go on Pirates, continue on your merry way, and you head on over to Mickey and Minnie's Runaway Railway. And as you're standing in line, you get a message from Rebecca. What happened?
Yeah. Well, it was Rebecca. What we do a lot in the live stream is she'll hang around and do, like, we call her location scouts. Another one of her things where she's kind of like scouting out things for me to do after I was going to do Mickey and Minnie's Runaway Railway. And so she says, I'm going to go get changed in New Orleans so I get into warmer clothes. So when I'm kind of scouting everything out, and I said, okay, so text me when you're ready because we were going to do a giveaway. And so then she texted me, so I thought it was time for the giveaway, but then she said, oh my God, OMG. That's the first thing. And I was all like, oh, here comes a joke. I was waiting for a joke because that's usually like she'll drop a joke on me or something like, and that just to make me laugh, right? Mm-hmm. But then she put in all caps like, the dragon's on fire. And I was like, what? I was like kind of like in a place like, are you kidding around? And then she goes like, and then the next text immediately after that was, I'm not kidding, Murphy caught on fire and it's bad. And then I texted her back. I was real quiet on the live stream because this was like happening like as I was waiting in line at Mickey and Minnie's Runaway Railway. Side note, I don't know how you get out of that queue if you're in the longer queue, because I was thinking immediately, like, I got to get out of this queue if something's up. But I didn't want anyone to be afraid either. I didn't want to spark the guests on this because I didn't know who knew. Because, you don't want to create pandemonium either for the cast members. So I told her on the text, I said, well, don't FaceTime me because I have no internet reception in here. Go live, and I'm going to get on the Wi-Fi so I could watch you through the live stream. Because FaceTime doesn't work well otherwise I would have just had her FaceTime me through the Wi-Fi at the park. I've already tested before. So I told her, all right, just do the live stream on Instagram so I could watch it. And she goes, okay. So she had already filmed a little bit, but she started live stream. And then, by the time I saw it, the Phantasmic dragon had completely been engulfed in flames. And then small bursts of fire were happening. And there was still crowd there, but cast members were beginning to tell people to evacuate the area because they could tell the fire was going to be extinguished immediately. And it was, it's polarizing. To be honest, Heyzen, the first thing, if you watch the live stream, it's one of the few times I thought maybe I should have deleted it because it was like a genuine reaction to me watching something. And what I told everybody here in text afterwards, truthfully, like, I know a lot of people are going to look at it. The first thing I thought was, I hope everyone's okay. And obviously, I hope my wife's okay because I'm going to bail out of this line. If, anything could happen. Trampling, the fire could spread, all that stuff. So I was ready to bail out and call it quits. But as soon as I saw like she was okay and she was all right and things were going all right, I was just more in the fact of I was feeling the same feeling she was feeling like. And I told everyone, it felt like watching your memories get burned or disappear in front of your own eyes. And I know a lot of people are like, oh, you're being so nostalgic or you're being so emotional about something, right? Because a lot of people are talking about that. But I tell people now that are going, like, let's be honest, like, we're just talking about how we still say annual pass holders. Some of those people did not come back and become magic key holders, right? We're becoming less and less. So when I tell people, like, on the live stream, like, I know the history behind this dragon and how hard and how many teams and how many Imagineers it took to get this to work. And I remember the feeling of going to Phantasmic and then like crossing my fingers, hoping Murphy would come out from under the ground and be like, yes, it worked today, because it didn't always work. And then finally, at one point in your life, you're like, you could rely on Murphy always showing up and being like the centerpiece of Phantasmic. And now seeing it just burn in front of your face, it was like, I know other people thought, man, what's the big deal? It's a big animatronic, but it was the biggest animatronic in the world.
You mentioned a couple things that I wanted to comment on. But first of all, I just want to say I think you handled it fantastic because I was watching the stream and you got the video from Rebecca and like almost simultaneously I said, oh my God, 3 or 4 times the same way that you did, because it was mind-boggling to see this happen.
All right.
Mm-hmm. I saw other videos and I saw the moment that it happened from the alternate angle, and like people were actually recording as well, or they were live streaming as well. And then the idea of I read a comment by I'm not sure who was posting. It was probably Jody, but Kevin and Jody are designers that have worked with Disney for years. And I believe Kevin was part of the original team that worked on the original Maleficent dragon for Phantasmic. And so there was a question that somebody posed like, hey, I've heard that people nicknamed the dragon Murphy because of Murphy's Law. Everything could go wrong, did go wrong and all that stuff. And so this isn't, and I just want to comment that this isn't the first time I've heard something along these lines. And then let me read you what his response was. He says, the dragon was only ever called Maleficent by the creative team, since that's the character. The Murphy nickname came later when the show was installed on Tom Sawyer Island. In spite of all our well-made plans in the design phase, the final dragon still had issues, including torching its own head off a week before opening night. The theme park operations and tech services people dubbed her Murphy because she was a perpetual troublemaker. Now, I think it's because I've heard similar comments before. Like when you're reading this, you can only read the context of what's being written, right? But I've heard other people that were on that team and Imagineers speak about that, and it doesn't sound like they like the name Murphy at all. Like they don't like Maleficent being referred to as Murphy, because you're giving their character a totally different name. So I get it. I know where the name came from. And so I guess for the people that know the history, if you were a cast member working or if you knew somebody that worked there, like you kind of know that like the story behind it. I mean, I think I've learned, or I've made it a point to not call the dragon Murphy because it feels disrespectful to cast members. But if you know the story and you refer to the dragon as Murphy, then okay, you know, that's you, right? Like you do you. But I did see this crazy influx of like, oh, Murphy strikes again, Murphy this, Murphy that. I'm like, really? Like, most of those people that were throwing out the Murphy name in some of these posts were like, aha, Murphy did it. Why do we call it Murphy again? It's like, why are you using that name if you don't even know what it stands for, or like what the story behind it is?
Yeah, Murphy's
like,
Law.
It doesn't. Maybe I'm just being an angry Disney fan on this one, but I've consciously made the decision to no longer call it Murphy because it feels like there are a handful of Imagineers and people on the design team that just feel it's disrespectful. So that I don't know. I wanted to throw it out there. But yeah, I think the way that you handled it when you were on Railway is absolutely one of the best ways that you could have handled it, because I think anyone else in your position would have held up their phone and been like, guys, the dragon's on fire.
Yes.
Look at this. Causing
Oh my
everybody
gosh.
to want to
Yes.
leave the queue, causing people to get trampled, causing a problem for cast members. And I mean, I saw you watching it, and dude, I just want to commend you for how you handled that situation, because I think in that moment, you may have saved a huge headache and possible injuries from people that would have been like, I gotta go live stream this and I gotta go do this. You know, aside from the people that were already doing it in front of it actually happening.
I appreciate that, Heyzen. And I just want to, I mean, I think you're exactly on it too. Like, I just to be clear too, like, that's a good point. I've never even thought about the Imagineers behind, because I really give them a lot of, give them a lot of props for getting through it. Why I still use that term is because I'll tell you why I use it. Murphy is because I feel like the Imagineers broke Murphy's Law. Whenever Murphy came out, I was like, pretty much like they broke the law. They fixed something that wasn't supposed to work. So that's when I talk about when me and Rebecca used to watch it, we would be like crossing our fingers. You'd see that moment. You wouldn't see the projection. You would see Murphy come out from under. It was like, yes, like we have something here. But you're right. But as it came out this week, it became the Murphy originally what people, and it was like that in the beginning too. I remember now you mentioning when this originally came out, that's how the derogatory term came from. I would say it's derogatory. It's like a punch, but I felt like when now in this time it hurt more because the battle to get, that's why people, I don't think they understand when I was sad. It's the hard work of the cast members to get that to work, that people just show up and they think, oh, that's cool. That's what they're supposed to do. I was literally something else I didn't say, Heyzen. I was telling everyone on the live stream minutes before that, because pyrotechnics were on the first showing. That was something already weird that we were like, why is there no pyrotechnics? I was telling people on the live stream, guys, it's like open fire. It's high risk. If there's something that's not going to work, Disney's not going to push something that's not going to work.
Yep.
So
I saw
the part
that
that bugs me is that it's like, this was something that they had so much faith and worked so hard, so many years, and so many people went back to make this work. Like, and it was, if I remember right, and I tell people, I believe an outside company is the one who really made the problems. It's the Imagineers who fixed it, if I remember right. So that's what hurts. When I watched it, I just sat there watching something like a part of history, a part of your memories going away. It was like watching something go away, and it was hard to see that. But let alone you're worried about people, right? You don't want it to get worse. You don't want people to panic. You don't want people to remember Disney and have these kids. Heyzen, side note, there was choir competitions this whole weekend. So yes, you're right. So Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, there were choirs in town competition at the Disneyland Resort having their competition. So now they're there trying to get in, having all these issues on Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. So there you go. It's true. It's a sad point.
Yeah. I think you just nailed why it bugged me so much. Like, I knew that I made a decision because I was trying to be respectful to the Imagineers and the work. But I think what you said right now helped me understand why I got so enraged when people just started tossing the term around over the weekend, because they don't know everything that went into it. I remember looking back at some of the older stuff and just seeing the original dragon with what looked like black drapes, right?
Yeah.
And just the way that it was originally designed to what we have today, man.
It's an accomplishment, and we saw that. Okay, so I get what you're saying, because this is why I was bummed. I remember camping out just to see this thing come out. And I remember, because, yeah, we're talking about how it was having problems and we weren't sure if it was going to debut in time. So taking the time out of our time to camp out, to sit down, to witness this thing come out from what used to be a crane and drapes and a head, right, pretty much, to a full-blown body, to that crowd. Oh my gosh, I was holding hands. I was holding hands in excitement, like just wanting to witness this thing come up, just to see this a dragon. We were the only park that had a dragon that had fire. Like, it was amazing. So I get your frustration, and unfortunately there is a wave of people who are taking this moment right now and riding this wave that's not supposed to be happening. Like, if you're courteous, if you understand the frustration, the sadness, or have any empathy towards us, then you wouldn't be riding this wave of clout, and I hate to say it like that, in the wrong way. Like,
exactly.
Don't be that person. Don't be that person. And I saw a lot of that, and it's like, no. You're celebrating for the wrong reason. And it's interesting to see. I don't know. I just, like, what is wrong with you people? Like, come on.
It goes back to what we were talking about before, the 15 minutes in fame.
Yes,
like,
yes.
It's people trying to get the content, trying to get this. Oh, this can boost my number, whatever. It all goes back to the internet. Apparently, the answer is the internet is bad, and nobody should have. We should go back in time and not have the internet.
Yeah, I mean, I think I did watch my fair share of videos that day, because I was trying to figure out what was happening, right? Because all we could see was what Rebecca was showing Larry at the time during that stream. So obviously I went off to my phone and I started looking to see what was going on. And then it got posted on Discord, and I think, Andrew, you posted one of the angles that was from the opposite direction when it actually happened. The moment that it happened was when Mickey was doing the whole "this is my dream," and there is a fire effect that happens at the time and stuff. At the time, people didn't know if it was part of the show, and then they realized, oh no, it's actually on fire, right? And the cast member that was like Mickey at the time, first of all, I'm glad that they were okay. They didn't freak out. They just kind of stood there. They realized, okay, there's a problem. And then I think they signaled in order to get brought down on the platform that they were standing on during the performance. And the idea of people making fun of that situation and saying like, oh, it's poetic that it happened this, and it's so funny that this. I was like, you understand that people's lives were in danger at this moment? Like, that cast member was in a situation where that head could have fallen off, and I get it. I'm trying really hard. Listen,
so
I the last thing I want to say on the Murphy thing is, early on, when the podcast first started, I was definitely one of those people that laughed at the idea of Maleficent being named Murphy and why Maleficent was named Murphy. But as I grew as a person and I learned more behind the development and the struggles and the iterations of Maleficent as the dragon that it was until this moment, everything I came to appreciate was halted because of this incident, right? All the hard work that went into this 30-year project went up in flames. The idea that people were making fun of the situation and the danger that it posed was unacceptable. And I was so bothered by the situation that I don't know. Somebody else talk.
Okay. I will talk. I've stayed pretty silent through this whole thing, and I want to kind of give sort of a technical and a theatrical perspective to this, because Fantasmic is, it's a big show. It's a play, and it's there's a lot of work that goes into this, and you bring up Mickey standing there, and I've watched a bunch of videos and stuff like that. Mickey did the exact track for the show. Mickey goes down, and the thing is with the show too is people still remember the version 1.0, 1.5, 2.0, and all these things have kind of ebbed and flowed and stuff, so people are getting couple of things conflated about what happens when and stuff like that. So where Mickey goes back down, that is in the new version. Mickey ran through the entire track and went down at the same time because what mist screen comes up and everything like that. The original version of the show, Mickey had a sword. He was the Prince and the Pauper. Mickey had a sword, and it shot fireworks out. In this new version, Mickey is Sorcerer Mickey, and so does this wave of the hand, and there's no pyro that happens in that section. So that's where a lot of people are getting confused on this fire that happened, because that firework, there's no firework that shot from Mickey when the head caught fire. And I'll talk about a little bit more of that later. But the other thing that a lot of people forget is Mickey's not the only human being in the vicinity of the dragon. There's tens of people all around the island, right behind, below in the pit, all over the place, that this inferno, I mean, and it's not a hyperbole calling this an inferno, could have injured or worse. So when you're making fun of the fire, the fire's a serious thing. If you watch any TV firefighter shows, it's no laughing matter. And then just kind of looking at this in person, it is very scary to think of.
Gas fire.
But yes, it's a liquid fuel fire. I believe the Maleficent dragon uses liquid propane or another liquid fuel to create its fire, and so. What my analysis of this, I've watched a lot of videos of the inciting incident, and it does seem that if you watch it, there, even before the first fire breath, you can see the chest of the dragon and the neck is shiny. There's some leaking fuel earlier there, and when it's breathes the fire out, that flame, that liquid fuel did not ignite all the way as it should. Right. It only was like a quarter of the whole thing actually lit, which is another kind of, and it looks wrong if you watch these videos. It just looks off compared to the other ones. And after that, you can just see this pouring liquid coming out all places, or just around, dripping through, and either there was a spark getting something ready for the second fire breath, or there was just some movement that created a spark. There could have been a number of things, because this is the job of this fuel is to light very easily and very quickly, and so that's why these things are it's good. It does its job well of creating a big ball of fire. So when those things aren't regulated properly, or something becomes loose, it becomes a very dangerous situation. And I want to applaud all the cast members that did around this whole situation. It was as soon as that head was on fire, that fire was wrong, animatronic stopped, It's probably within 5 to 10 seconds, which is, depending on sight lines and whatever, radioing, something's going wrong, stop, hit it. Animatronic stops first, and then the rest of the show kind of fizzles out, and then, the head and fire thing. So response time was great with cast members and crew members for the show. There's a couple people trying with what appeared to be some small hose and some fire extinguishers, trying their best, but with this liquid fire, they're if they teach you anything about fires, it's there's certain fires you can put out with water and certain fires you can't. Mm-hmm. And that one was a fire that you could not put out with water. Gas fires and things like that spread. You have to smother a fire or use special extinguishers. So at the point that they were at, it was the safest thing to do to just let it burn. At that point, they called in the Anaheim Fire Department, and they did what they could. But there's just a lot more people involved behind the scenes than you would think, and all of those people, did everything they could to make this so nobody got hurt. And that's, the number one thing that we need to, take from this, that this situation happened, but nobody got hurt. I did hear that some people went to the hospital for smoke inhalation, but other than that, it seems to be everybody is okay. There's no reported injuries, things like that. So making the best of a bad situation. Another thing is that, that this is something that can be replaced. Like, it probably will take a while, but I'm sure that we're not going to be without the dragon forever. It was, by estimations, a $10 million animatronic. And so that money's not just going to come from, thin air. They'll have to budget for it. I'm sure there's insurance on things like this, so who knows? The other thing I just remembered when I was going
now, if you adjust for inflation.
Yeah,
I think
exactly.
it was like 10 in 2009 when they developed the last version.
The other thing that I wanted to bring up was why this could have happened, and it just kind of points out how, we've talked about it before, that maintenance has gone down, budgets for maintenance, budgets for this, in things that are, mission critical, that could cause harm to life, something, fire. Like, these budgets are not, the cast members that are employed on these shows and these attractions and everything are doing the best that they can. And I put no blame on any, nobody should put any blame on the cast members that are just doing the job the best they can, what they're told to do. But this obviously shows that there are things that are not getting checked because the budgets are down. They're not employing enough people to safely do these things and make sure that these things don't happen. And so at that point, should this show be running because the things cannot be done safely? Like, there's going to be an investigation, and we'll probably never know the outcome of that. But if it's something that could have been caught because of maintenance, in a pre-show check, I'm sure there's things, but these things should be worked on every day. Check the blah 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 blah, and if these things aren't getting done because upper management says, well, we don't have the people do that, you just make sure this thing works, do your job and whatever. You can't blame the person that it's their job to just, they're following orders and do whatever. There's no point that these budgets are cut anymore. The parks are as busy as they've ever been. The attendance is up, their spending is up. Bring these cast members back. Bring the maintenance back. Bring the full staff back to these Disney parks. Whatever, you're firing everybody else. This is your sector that's making the money, so you should be investing in the people and the things that make it, make the magic for everybody that goes to the parks. That's the cast members. Everybody says it. The CEO says it. Everybody says that the cast members make the magic at Disney parks. That includes people that fix the attractions and maintain the animatronics and pick up the garbage and clean the toilets and, from A to Z, from soup to nuts, whatever you want to say, whatever weird turn of phrase you want to do it. The cast members that are there day in and day out, first shift, second shift, third shift, everybody is there to make sure that these things are there for families and people that want to experience them, and they're doing the best of their abilities to make sure that you have your best experience. So why are we not investing in the thing that is, Disney's most valuable asset is the people that work there. So, of all these things, that is what we need to be, pushing for. And if you're a shareholder, or if you're, a concern, you can email. You don't even have to be a shareholder. You can email guest services with requests and things like that. There are numbers and emails you can call and email to send your suggestions and things like that. So that's the only option we as just lay folk have with making changes. Just, like they say, email your congressman, email your Disney representative, email your whoever to make it so that, voice your opinion that these people need to be coming back, because that they're the people that make the magic. I'm kind of just, repeating myself a bunch, but this seems like it could have been avoided if maintenance and budgets were what they should be, especially for a show like this that is, besides the dragon alone, there's lifts, multiple lifts involved with human beings on them, Mickey coming out of the ground, Mickey on the roof, there's boats and other costumes and things that all are very intricate and could hurt somebody if they're not maintained properly. So that it's all just a battle on that. So I'm sure there was more things on my mind. Oh, I saw somebody post something that I thought was very fun, that said the Anaheim Police Department technically defeated a dragon or fought a dragon. So that, something interesting to see. But yeah, the cast members, great job on making this a no injury situation.
Yeah, well said. Yeah, I mean, look, could it have been a freak accident? Absolutely. Things happen, but the majority of freak accidents with stuff like this, like you said, can be resolved or prevented if you have proper maintenance checks in place. Things like this have happened in the park before, and the cast members are usually the ones that make sure that people are not hurt. Like back just a few years ago when the Maleficent dragon in Festival of Fantasy, when that went up in flames during the parade route. I mean, this was so much closer to people. That was contained pretty quickly. I mean, it wasn't as massive as this one was, but cast members also the heroes of the day, right? When the fire happened at It's a Small World, back in now almost 10 years ago, or like back in 2015 or whenever that was. Again, cast members very quickly evacuated the area, made sure that as many people were safe as possible, and did what they had to do. All those incidents, again, could they be freak accidents? Yeah, absolutely. But as long as you have the infrastructure in place to make sure that you can prevent those things, the better. I think the best thing that I could say about this situation is that it didn't happen on the mainland of Disneyland. Mm-hmm. The fact that it was an isolated incident on Tom Sawyer Island absolutely was in the effort of making sure that it was contained and extinguished quickly and making sure people were safe. Like, I can't imagine what would have happened if it was in the main area of the park. So
right.
Or in a theater, or
in a theater,
exactly. If it was in the Fantasyland theater or something that close to people, and I'm sure that's one of the reasons they're allowed to do such elaborate fire effects, is there is a large body of water between the said fire and the audience.
Yeah.
Even if the water is on fire sometimes.
Yeah, I do wonder how this is going to affect, one, Phantasmic going forward, because we saw that it didn't change much when the parade fire happened, which was a lot closer in time than It's a Small World. But how is this going to affect, if at all, like World of Color, which is much closer to attractions and people when the flames go off? You know?
Yeah. They did release a statement saying that certain fire effects were going to be stopped. That being said, they didn't really say. They did say the Maleficent dragon in the Festival of Fantasy parade would be temporarily not breathing fire. And I have a feeling that it's all going to be related to what valves are similar, like what parts could have gone wrong in this dragon, and what parts by the same manufacturer are we using in other locations, and that's got to be the breakdown of how they're going about this. So, is the fire at Indiana Jones going to stop right now? Who knows? There's fire, used fairly frequently in Disney parks and controlled fairly well up until this incident. So it's likely, that's what I would think is if it's by, whatever manufacturer. I don't know a manufacturer off the top of my head that makes gas regulator valves or whatever. So that may, that's how I would assume, or they're just going to be like any fire that's close to people, they're going to stop. But they did say that the Phantasmic in Walt Disney World is not affected by this.
Well, we'd love to hear all of your thoughts on the incident and continue the conversation over on Discord. If you haven't had an opportunity to join the community, it's really easy to join. Head over to podketeers.com/links. There you will find some of the most common links that were asked about, including our latest episode, a Disneyland playlist, links to our YouTube channel and Larry's YouTube channel, Goofy Guys Adventures. But you'll also find links to the FGP Squad and a link to join us on Discord. We'd love to have you there. We'd love to continue this conversation and hear your thoughts on anything that we talk about in this episode, or really any episode. So, join us over there so we can continue talking. From one darker incident in the park, there has been a little bit of a ray of sunshine for some cast members recently. And that was some good news that we heard this last week. Mel, do you want to talk about what's happening with some of the workers?
Absolutely. Whenever we hear good news for cast members, it's such a good feeling because they do so much for us to, create the magic, keep us safe, you name it. So about a week ago, we actually learned that Disney security cast members are getting a really beautiful raise, and it's going to be about $8. This was voted on This was actually voted in October of 2021. And finally, things have been settled, and it looks like it's going to be within a 2-year span. The initial raise actually started in April, and they will be getting another $1 raise the next following year and the next following year as well. So who exactly is going to get this? We're looking at not just security cast members, but officers, lead officers, sergeants, bag checkers, canine handlers. I couldn't be happier for them because they have kept us safe since the parks reopened. And if anything, this is definitely way overdue. So, you know what? Congrats. This is awesome. And I'm really hoping that those, that we see in the parks, hopefully they get theirs too. That's pretty much the one thing we would always want for them, is the best that they could have, because times are tough. times are tough, and they deserve it. They really do for what they do for us. So
Yeah.
that's like, there's like some pixie dust right there.
Yeah. Yeah, this is a really great start. I mean, this is something that Disney cast members have been fighting for a really long time. I think there's a much bigger fight in Florida than there is here in Anaheim because they just have such a massive workforce over in Florida. And I mean, there are stories of cast members living out of their cars because they don't have a living wage. So if this is the beginning of something that's going to trickle down to other cast members, I really hope that Disney continues to move on this. Like, this is the type of stuff that, for the people creating the magic for you every single day, is well deserved. And I mean, this should have happened years ago. Right?
Yeah.
So I hope this is the beginning of a trend. I hope that I hate to say that I hope that the Maleficent incident is one that brings more maintenance, brings more cast members in. It gives them the raise that they deserve for the type of work that they should be doing, because I would hate to hear that this was an incident later on that, somebody that just didn't care about their job or didn't care about it enough is what caused this, and it was just negligence, right? It's an easier, I hope this doesn't sound weird, but I think it's an easier pill to swallow for when something like this happens. Again, thankfully nobody got hurt, but if it was like you said, Andrew, like a valve that just, broke or something, or just wore down with time or something, that I think is an easier thing to swallow than it was just a cast member that was just fed up because they weren't paid enough situation. You know what I mean? So this is great news. Again, I hope it's the beginning of a trend and more cast members get the raises that they deserve. So great news. That's definitely a handful of pixie dust in the cast members' direction.
Mm-hmm.
All right, Andrew, I think it's time to cue you up, buddy, because we got some super important years coming up in Great Moments with Mr. Andrew. Are you ready to go?
I think so. I just wet my whistle. It's a long one, so buckle in, get your favorite snacks, lean back. We're in for a ride. The years are 1955 and 1956. If you know anything about Disney history, you know what 1955 is. So we'll get started because it's a long one. So we'll start with film in 1955. On March 10th, President Eisenhower calls Walt Disney to tell him how good the film Man in Space was and asks for a copy to show to the generals in the Pentagon. Also, the Academy Awards, Oscars to 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea for both art direction and special effects, and to The Vanishing Prairie for Best Documentary Feature. The National Board of Review awards the Best American Film Award to The Vanishing Prairie and 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea, both. The Cannes Film Festival awards a National Recognition Award for the film The Living Desert. On May 25th, Disney releases Davy Crockett, King of the Wild Frontier, to theaters in the U.S. It is a compilation of the first 3 Davy Crockett episodes aired on TV. It is accompanied by the live-action short Arizona Sheepdog. On June 16th, Disney premieres Lady and the Tramp in Chicago. It is the first cartoon feature filmed in CinemaScope. 2 versions of the film are available to theaters to display, regular and widescreen CinemaScope. It is accompanied by the People and Places film Switzerland. There were 7 new shorts released this year and 10 re-releases. For TV in 1955, the Disneyland TV show on ABC is still growing strong. It airs for a total of 25 episodes in 1955. It started its 2nd season on September 14th. On October 3rd, ABC launches Disney's 2nd TV show, The Mickey Mouse Club. It is a daily 1-hour series showing cartoons and introducing the talents of the Mouseketeers. On May 9th, Sam and Friends debuts on WRC in Washington, D.C. This first significant show created by Jim Henson and the birthplace of Kermit the Frog. So a little side tangent there. But in 1955, the Academy of Television Arts and Sciences awards an Emmy to the Walt Disney Studios for the Disneyland TV episode Operation Undersea for Best Individual Show, to the Walt Disney Studio for the Disneyland TV series for Best Variety Series, and to the Walt Disney Studio for Best Television Editing. Also, a George Foster Peabody Broadcasting Award is won for the Disneyland TV show. The elephant in the room, where TV is concerned, is the Disneyland Opening Day special. By March, ABC had sold out all advertising for the special. At 4:30 p.m., the ABC television network airs the 90-minute Dateline Disneyland show broadcasting the opening of Disneyland Park. An estimated 70 to 90 million people watch the show, the largest live TV broadcast to date, with over 20 cameras and a staff of hundreds. Hosts of the show were Art Linkletter, Bob Cummings, and Ronald Reagan. The official dedication is made by Walt Disney and California Governor Goodwin Knight. However, the live broadcast itself was riddled with technical difficulties, such as guests tripping over camera cables all over the park, faulty miscues, on-air flubs, hot mics, unexpected moments that were caught on camera, mostly Bob Cummings caught making out with a dancer just before going on air. This is not so much a show as it is a special event, Art Linkletter said during the live broadcast from Disneyland. Quote, the rehearsal went about as the way you would expect a rehearsal to go if you were covering 3 volcanoes all erupting at the same time and you didn't expect any of them. So from time to time, if we say, we take you now by camera to the snapping crocodiles at Adventureland, and instead somebody pushes the wrong button and we catch Irene Dunn adjusting her bustle on the Mark Twain, don't be too surprised. The live broadcast also featured the debut of the original Mouseketeers from the Mickey Mouse Club TV show. And that brings us to Disneyland in 1955. Well, we're going to go through a little bit of the construction first, what I could find. It's hard to find construction dates and information on Disneyland without, like, reading a big old book. And I didn't have time to read a big old book, so we got what we got. So on January 15th, despite plans to have the park open without it, Walt decides to go ahead and build Tomorrowland, saying that the park can only open as a complete experience. Admiral Joe Fowler advises that the outlook for Tomorrowland was very grave. In March, the Autopia roadways are finally paved and ready for the Autopia cars to be added to the track. And same time, the Color Gallery exhibit in Tomorrowland, sponsored by Dutch Boy Paints, is completed and is ready for opening day. On March 29th, the Atchison, Topeka, and Santa Fe Railway signs a 5-year contract with Disney, paying $50,000 per year in exchange for the name Santa Fe and accompanying logos to be used on all Disneyland trains, stations, literature, etc. And by May, the Disneyland Marching Band is hired and organized and begins rehearsal for opening day to begin daily parades and concerts on Main Street, USA under the direction of Vesey Walker. Walt Disney grants Jack Rather a 99-year lease agreement to use the Disney name on any hotel in Southern California. Getting closer to opening, Orange County plumbers and asphalt workers stage a strike, threatening to delay the tight schedule of building of Disneyland. On July 4th, Disneyland's 2 new steam engines, the CK Holiday and EP Ripley, make their first full run around the park, and this coincides with a pre-opening party that is held at Disneyland for its employees. On July 13th, Walt and Lillian held their 30th wedding anniversary party at Disneyland on the Mark Twain riverboat, followed by a performance of the Golden Horseshoe Revue. On July 14th, the Casey Jr. Circus Train makes its first test ride. On a 25% uphill grade, the engine almost tips backwards. Lead weights are added to the front, allowing it to temporarily open on the 17th. And here we go. On July 17th, 1955, at 2 p.m., Disneyland Park opens. 5 themed areas are Main Street USA, Frontierland, Fantasyland, Adventureland, and Tomorrowland. 18 attractions are ready for use on opening day, based on an initial $10,000 for planning, and the final construction cost was $17 million. 15,000 guests were invited, but attendance for the day is somewhere between 28 and 33,000. On July 18th, Disney opens to the public from 10 a.m. to 10 p.m., with general admission costing $1 for adults and 50 cents for children. The first guests are Christine Vest and Michael Schwartner. They both are given lifetime passes. A gas leak forces Fantasyland to close early that day. Casey Jr. also closes this day to adjust the grade of the hills. And now we're going to go and run through a bunch of dates. So hold on to your hats. On July 22nd, the Rocket to the Moon attraction opens in Tomorrowland. And the Candyland, later Candy Palace shop opens on Main Street. On July 30th, the Tomorrowland Boats attraction opens in Disneyland between Tomorrowland and Fantasyland. On July 31st, the Casey Jr. Circus Train reopens. On August 1st, the Conestoga Wagons opens in Frontierland. August 3rd, the 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea exhibit display opens. August 9th, the Aunt Jemima's Pancake House restaurant opens in Frontierland. Also in August, the Dutch Boy exhibit and the World Beneath Us attraction open in Tomorrowland. August 16th, Dumbo the Flying Elephants open in Fantasyland, and the Phantom Boat Ride opens in Tomorrowland. August 27th, the Mickey Mouse Club Theater opens in Fantasyland. The theater plays Disney cartoon short films on several small screens. August 29th, the Chicken of the Sea pirate ship and restaurant opens in Fantasyland. On September 8th, Disneyland welcomes its 1 millionth visitor, Elsa Marquez. September 16th, the Canal Boats of the World attraction opens in Fantasyland. On September 16th, the Canal Boats of the World attraction in Fantasyland at Disneyland closes for improvements. Also, the Disneyland Hotel opens the same day. October 11th, the first ticket books are made available at Disneyland. They cost $2.50 per adult, $1.50 for child. They contain the A, B, and C tickets for 8 rides. November 24th, the Mickey Mouse Club Circus attraction opens in Disneyland. Each live show lasts 75 minutes, and it ran to January 8th, 1956. Same day, the first Christmas at Disneyland Festival is held with a parade and music concert. On December 1st, the Maxwell House Coffee House restaurant opens in Town Square in Disneyland. The Kaiser Aluminum and Chemical Corp debuts the Hall of Aluminum fame in Tomorrowland. And finally, on December 25th, the Mike Fink Keel Boat Rides opens in Frontierland. So, very staggered opening. And if that wasn't enough, other notable things to happen in 1955. On Saturday, January 1st, Helm's Bakery enters a float in the Pasadena Tournament of Roses parade with a Disney theme. This float features Mickey Mouse, Dumbo, and a series of flying pink elephants and helps to publicize the upcoming opening of Disneyland. It wins the Judges Special Award. The Firehouse 5+2 performs on the float. Animators Don Bluth and Bernie Mattison joined the company in 1955. Jack Lindquist is hired to Disney as the first advertising manager of Disneyland. Dick Nunes joins the company as well as an assistant in orientation training for Disneyland employees. He would later become the head of all Disney theme parks and retire after 43 years of service. Also, the Disney University is launched at Disneyland to teach Walt Disney's management philosophies. And the Beverly Hills chapter of Benai Birth awards Disney a trophy as their choice for the 1955 Man of the Year. Birthdays in 1955, we have January 6th, Rowan Atkinson. February 21st, Kelsey Grammer. February 24th, Steve Jobs. February 28th, Gilbert Gottfried. March 19th, Bruce Willis. March 28th, Reba McEntire. May 1st, Eric Goldberg, animator Eric Goldberg. May 6th, Tom Bergeron. May 17th, Bill Paxton. July 22nd, William Dafoe. August 3rd, Corey Burton, great voice actor. September 10th, Joe Rohde. November 13th, Whoopi Goldberg. November 26th, Heyzen's man Don Hahn. November 27th, Bill Nye. So that's 1955. I need to take a drink of water. All right. That brings us to 1956. 4 films in 1956. The Academy Awards and Oscar to Men Against the Arctic for documentary short subjects. The National Board of Review awards a Best American Film Award to Disney for The African Lion. On June 20th, Disney releases the live-action feature film The Great Locomotive Chase. On July 17th, Disney releases the live-action feature film Davy Crockett and the River Pirates. This is a compilation of episodes 5 and 6 from the TV series. July 27th, Disney releases the Humphrey the Bear film In the Bag. On December 20th, Disney releases the 6th People and Places film Disneyland USA to theaters. It accompanies the live-action feature film Westward Ho! The Wagons. Disney re-releases the films Bambi and Song of the South to theaters this year. There are 11 shorts, new shorts, and 8 re-releases. For TV in 1956, ABC airs 25 episodes of the Disneyland TV series. Its third season begins on September 12th. By February, the Mickey Mouse Club TV show had reached more total viewers than any other daytime program. March 17th, the Academy awards an Emmy for Best Action or Adventure Series to the David Crockett Show. They also award an Emmy for the Best Producer of a Film Series to Walt Disney for the Disneyland TV show. The Hollywood Foreign Press Association also awards a Golden Globe Award to Disney for the Disneyland TV show. On November 11th, Walt Disney appears as a guest on the TV show What's My Line? For Disneyland in 1956, on a rainy weekend in January at Disneyland, Walt describes his idea for a skyway, monorail, and submarine ride and a mountain sled ride. On January 12th, the Silhouette Studio Shop opens. January 21st, the American Dairy Association exhibit, the Dairy Bar Food Facility, opens in Tomorrowland. February 19th, the Jungle Killers exhibit of jungle animals opens in Fantasyland. March 21st, the Astro Jets open in Tomorrowland. April 5th, the Bathroom of Tomorrow attractions opens in Tomorrowland. On June 16th, the Tom Sawyer Island Rafts, the 3D film with 3D glasses 3D Jamboree, and the Storybook Land Canal boats all open at Disneyland. June 23rd, the Skyway begins operation. June 26th, the Rainbow Mountain Stagecoaches open, and the Pack Mule ride reopens as the Rainbow Ridge Pack Mules. Sometime in 1956, Disneyland begins using D tickets for certain attractions. The Fantasy in the Sky Fireworks Show debuts at Larry saw Throwback Nite. That debuts in 1956. A railroad station is added to Fantasyland, and the Phantom Boat Ride returns to Disneyland for about a month. On July 2nd, the Rainbow Caverns mine attraction begins Operation Frontierland. The attraction cost $400,000 to build. July 4th, the Indian War Canoes attraction begin operation. July 23rd, the Junior Autopia opens in Fantasyland. July 30th, the Mineral Hall Shop opens in Frontierland. August 18th, the Carnation Plaza Gardens Eatery and Entertainment Area opens. August 22nd, the Carefree Corner Guest Registration Area opens on Main Street. October 4th, Disney welcomes its 5 millionth guest. And the same day, the Phantom Boat of Tomorrowland closes. This is the first attraction to be removed from Disneyland. Other notable things in 1956. Walt Disney is awarded the Audubon Society Medal. The Guild of Variety Artists awards Walt Disney a lifetime membership for his increasing efforts to discover new ways to keep the greatest number of people in the field of show business gainfully employed. Card Walker becomes the vice president of Walt Disney Productions. The Sierra Club makes Walt Disney an honorary life member in gratitude for his films on wildlife. The Walt Disney Music Company releases its first record, A Child's Garden of Verses, on the Disneyland record label. Walt attends Walt Disney Day in his childhood home of Marceline, where he dedicates a public swimming pool that is part of a 10-acre park named in his honor. Actor Kirk Douglas sues Walt Disney for use of home movie footage of Kirk and his two sons at Walt Disney's home. And Walt Disney is named the recipient of the Screen Producers Guild Milestone Award for Lifetime of Great Professional Achievement. The birthdays for 1956. February 3rd, Nathan Lane. March 7th, Bryan Cranston. March 11th, Rob Paulson. May 10th, Paige O'Hara. May 17th, Bob Saget. May 19th, Tom Saito. July 9th, Tom Hanks. August 28th, Louise Guzman. October 21st, Carrie Fisher. And November 22nd, Richard Kind. There has been your very, very long, I don't know if you can call it moment, but great moments with me. A very out of steam Mr. Andrew. I need to
Good
drink
job.
many
Good
much
job.
more waters. My throat is all dry, and I
Yes.
keep talking for some
Good
reason.
job.
Yeah, very big years for the company indeed. So, all right. I think that's a great place to wrap up the episode. Give Andrew an opportunity to just catch his breath and...
I'm done talking.
All
I
right.
keep talking.
Well, before we wrap up, Larry, do you want to tell everyone where they can find you and all that good stuff?
For sure. Thanks, Heyzen. Yeah, if you guys want to watch my live streams from Disneyland in Anaheim, California, and Disney California Adventure, go ahead and check me out on YouTube, not TikTok, which I think I'm going to start a game on my channel. If you hear someone say, "Are you on TikTok?" take a drink of your favorite beverage. On my live streams, it happens at least 4 times a show. But anyway, Wednesdays or Thursdays and Saturdays throughout the day is usually the schedule we live stream on. And every once in a while, we do our Goofy Guys Adventures stories we upload. So that's encouraging to you too. If you're out there and you want to submit a story, a Disney story to us that we'd read and do an uploaded video for first time kind of like reaction. So, and yeah, that's overall all like Goofy Guys Adventures on YouTube.
Right on. All right. Again, if you want to join us over on Discord, all of these links, including a link to Larry's YouTube channel, can be found at podketeers.com/links. That is the best place to find some of those common links for the podcast, the pages, and all that good stuff. So that's it. That's going to wrap it up. Until next time, keep dreaming, keep moving forward, and always remember to pass on the magic. Have a fantastic week, everyone.
Bye.
See ya.
Squad up. Squad cheers. Let's go.
Part of the Podketeers Network.